King Solomon, the wisest man in the world, once wrote, "Without a vision, the people perish." And I think this is also true on a much more personal level. And you could say, when they have no vision, people perish, as their very first principle that defines their understanding of the world. Buddhists believe that life is suffering, and they identify the first two steps to overcoming this suffering as right view and right resolve. Right view means to see the world for the reality that it is, objectively, which they believe is suffering. And right resolve is about cultivating a positive outlook in the face of that suffering. You need to develop a positive outlook in order for you to overcome the suffering in the world. And a significant part of that positive outlook is developed by creating a positive vision of your own future. This isn't about naive, wishful thinking where you ignore the challenges and the hardships of the reality that we live in. It's actually about understanding that having a meaningful and inspiring vision for your life is necessary to function optimally in this world of suffering. The world is a ridiculously complex and overwhelming place, and if you don't have an aim to focus your attention, you'll likely be swallowed up by the ocean of chaos. There are simply too many things happening to be able to perceive and understand everything all at once. Without a clear vision of the life that is possible for you, filled with goodness and purpose, when you meet the devil at the crossroads, there's a good chance that you'll become distracted and mindlessly follow him into hell. Without a vision that lights you up and fills you with admiration for that future version of yourself, when things get dark, you'll find it much more difficult to find your way through that darkness. When you're in the depths of a dark tunnel, trying to find your way out, your vision will act as the light at the end of that tunnel, guiding your way. Your vision will become your guiding star, and when it's bright and well-defined, you'll be able to tell it apart from all of the other countless billions of stars in the sky. You'll start to know your guiding star in relation to some of those other stars in the sky. And then each time you set your eyes above the horizon, you'll know if you're going in the right direction or not, even if you're thousands and thousands of miles away from your destination. The reality is, having a clear and well-defined vision for your life is more in touch with the world that we live in than any alternative, even if that vision seems miles away from where you currently are right now. We evolved to understand and perceive ourselves and the world through stories. And once you clarify a future vision for your life that you are aiming at and moving towards, everything in your life becomes a part of that narrative. Everything you do now has a significance, a meaning. Having a well-defined vision allows you to orient yourself properly in the world, and it allows you to effectively focus in on what's important. Like a photographer focusing in on their subject. They want to see a specific thing in their view clearly while blurring out less important things. When you have something that is important to you to aim at and to judge and compare yourself against, it will enable you to much more easily see those parts of yourself that are pulling you off course. So you can correct those faults and become unified and integrated and then function much more optimally in the world. So, how do you go about creating this vision? Well, just as you did with your anti-vision, you'll start by revisiting your values hierarchy exercise that you did in stage 1 of the program, life mapping. Within each of the values that you define there, you are going to describe what a future heaven would look like for you in 5 years' time? Ask yourself these 3 questions for each of your values. 1. If I could be, do, and have all that I could be, and have those things be valuable and meaningful enough to help to sustain me through all the chaos and the suffering in the world and in life, what would that look like? 2. If I prioritized my personal growth, did the work to put myself together in the best way I possibly could, and stopped doing all the things that were holding me back, how good could my life get? And 3, how would doing this affect the people around me, and what kind of legacy would it leave? When writing these positive visions of different areas of your life, it's best to write it in the present or past tense. I do, I have, I am, etc. If there are some things that you are aiming to be, do, or have that you haven't already defined or don't come under any of the values that are in your value hierarchy, go ahead and write about that thing under its own heading, and then go back and add that thing to your value hierarchy list in its proper place. Without a vision, people perish. But with a vision, people have the chance to grow and thrive.